warriors, welcome back to my channel. It's Iihwarriorjay here. Sorry, I have a stain on my shirt. I was drinking juice and it's a stain, but don't worry about that. I actually have a question for you guys. So you guys know I work part-time and I also have medical conditions. So I was wondering, you can leave it down in the comments or anything like that. Have you guys ever experienced, like, I'm gonna make more of like a more in detailed video about this, but I know a lot of you guys are probably very young, maybe like in your 20s. I'm about to be 24 next month, and the problem that I'm actually having is people not actually believing that you have chronic illnesses. You know what I mean? I'm 23 years old now. I've been dealing with chronic illnesses such as pseudotumor cerebri, asthma. I started having syncope, where my heart gets really high and I pass out. That is an actual new diagnosis. We're trying to figure that out, if it's from the anxiety or if it's from the pseudotumor cerebri, because I'm no longer in remission with pseudotumor cerebri. It actually came back. So we're trying to figure that out, or if it could be something else, maybe POTS or something like that. We actually don't know. I'm actually going to my doctor's pretty soon and figuring that out, but right now I just have to keep it safe. But I was just wondering, have anybody, because I get this question a lot, like I look young, I'm very healthy, but I actually deal with a lot of chronic illnesses, and they're invisible disabilities. I live with invisible disabilities, invisible illness, chronic illnesses. So what invisible means is you actually can't see it. It's inside. So I just have a question. Everybody, like, for me, I'm young. I keep repeating myself, but I'm young, and a lot of family, friends, doctors, strangers, they actually don't believe you when you tell them that you have chronic illnesses and you show like proof by like paperwork from your doctors, or like they actually see you have an episode, things like that. So I have a question for you guys. Do you guys ever feel like that? And it's been frustrating for me. It's been frustrating. I've been dealing with all these chronic illnesses since I was 21, so almost 4 years, and I just got recently diagnosed with the syncope, and people don't actually believe you, but I've heard a lot of questions or a lot of statements such as, oh, you look healthy, you're too young to be sick, I'll pray for you, how can you have syncope, or how can you pass out, let me see you pass out. Like, people have actually stated to me, like, do you really pass out? Let me see you pass out. Like, I promise you, they have told me those, and they're like, oh, you have headaches? I got headaches too. Like, it's just like, or like I have vertigo, like I have hearing loss, things like that, and they're like, oh, prove it to me, show me your hearing aid. Like, that's what it is in the health community, like in the chronic illness community. Like, no matter if you have invisible disabilities or not, they want you to prove that you are actually disabled, but you have a right as a human being, and the ADA law saying that you actually don't have to show your disability or any paperwork or anything like that. So let me know if you guys ever experience something like that, because I experience that every single day now. And like, people like us that have disabilities but they're invisible, we have to, like, for me, like now that I have the syncope and stuff, the past year and a half, it's gotten worse. Like, now if I stand up for more than 2 minutes, my heart rate skyrockets to like 130, 140, and my resting heart rate is about 74, 75, and my oxygen actually goes down, and I get like the feeling of like warmness, and I get bruised and tingling down my legs, and my chest gets really tight, my head feels very foggy, and I get very dizzy and kind of like the world is spinning. That's the side effects of syncope, where I'm about to pass out. My body's telling me, you need to sit down. So I use aids, wheelchairs, walkers, things like that. or I use the motorized scooters like at the store, like at Walmart and stuff like that. And where I live in Florida, so Florida is basically a retirement state where older folks come down and they retire. So a lot of the scooters, they're either taken, or there's at least one or two of them. And sometimes on like really bad days, sometimes it's not a really bad day, sometimes I'll just be walking, or I stand, like I get out of the car and I walk from the car to the into the store, and my heart rate skyrockets to 150, and it's not even nothing. So for me, safety for me, because I don't want to fall and bump my head or, you know, crack my head open, because I do pass out and then I wake up like a couple seconds or a couple minutes later and I end up on the floor, you know, or I end up in the chair. Like sometimes I black out and then I'm like, people surrounding me. So I go in, I use the motorized scooters, but people always give me that dirty look. They give me the dirty look, or they say stuff under their breath, and when I catch them, they're like, oh, this lady's she's too young, why is she wearing, you know, why is she using a motorized scooter, you know, da 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 da. And for me now, I stick up for myself and my illnesses. Like if somebody has a problem with it, or if somebody has questions, of course I answer it, but you don't have to assume, you know, if you have questions about like people's illnesses or anything like that, just ask them. You know, some people don't like answering. I love talking about my illnesses because I like to educate and inform people about it because I want people to know about it, you know, to be self-aware, you know. And I have to have things now, like my medical bracelet I have to wear all the time and things like that, because it's so unsafe for me to go out in public by myself without my mom or my friends or my sisters and stuff. So I use the motorized scooter to help me with my health. So I used the motorized scooters. My grandma, she gave me a walker to use and things like that. So sometimes I would use my walker. Sometimes I don't have room in my mom's car. I don't drive. My mom takes me places because it's too dangerous for me right now to drive because of the syncope and also my back problems and the pseudotumor cerebri. So my mom just takes me places. Sometimes I would use the walker and people would look at me like, give you dirty looks of like, I'm young, but I have to use a walker. Or maybe some people are curious, but I've heard people under the breath like, why is she using that? She looks normal, blah blah blah. So that's my whole question in the whole video. Let me know if you guys have ever experienced that. I have a lot of people that I talk to now since making YouTube and stuff and Instagram that have emailed me or have messaged me saying like, how do I go throughout my day, you know, with all these problems. I don't know. I have to get work. The world doesn't stop working. The world doesn't stop spinning. You keep going. You keep fighting. Like I always say, you just keep fighting and keep pushing until people believe you. People are eventually going to believe you, you know? So that is my question. Have you guys ever experienced that? Especially being young and having a lot of health problems, but you look normal. Some days I like to dress up to make myself feel good. So let me know if you guys ever experienced that before. So